for a thumbs up. All I see is webinar user with no picture.
For attendees, are you looking for who's
Now I
in?
see you.
I have a Michael Grossworth, Mike and Tracy Horgan, Tom Reardon. I don't
No,
know.
I just want to see when it starts. He usually gives a thumbs up, but I can't see him.
Oh,
I got my video muted. And you are ready to go.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Today is June 3rd, 2025, and this is the meeting of the Northborough Planning Board. This meeting is fully remote, but public participation is allowed and available by following the link on the agenda, which is listed on the town website. First on our agenda tonight is the continuation of the public hearing for a common driveway, special permit, and site plan approval in the residential A district for 3, 7, and 11 Reservoir Street, submitted by the estate of Robert Romeo. The proposed common driveway will serve 3 proposed single-family homes. Okay, Lori, do you want to let in the applicants?
I can, sure.
Hi, Laurie. I just unmuted.
What's Bob Parente?
Bob Parente.
Hi.
Are you the only one that will be attending tonight?
Yes, that's correct, Amy. Correct.
Okay. So last we saw you was December 17th.
No, we had a meeting in February.
In
I'm pretty
February?
sure. I think so.
I went back and looked at all the agendas and I saw all continuations,
Okay. All right.
but
That could be. Well, glad to see you all again.
you met a lot with the Conservation Commission, right?
Yeah, we jumped through some hoops for sediment control. We had actually added another plan. So just to recap, I think, for everybody's memory, this is a proposed 3-lot common driveway. The entrance is about, let's say, 600 feet from the intersection of Crawford Street and Church Street. Let's see, share that screen for us, Larry. Yep. Yeah, like 500 feet, I guess, 500 feet from the intersection of Crawford Street. The Church Street end of Crawford Street. So there is a good deal of wetlands on the property, but most of it is on the existing house lot, which is not included in this presentation. So the house lot was previously subdivided by land planning, I think 3 or 4 years ago. And that house still sits on the same lot as previously presented to the planning board. So we have before the planning board approximately 9.9 acres that we would be developing. And according to our land disturbance plan, total disturbance would be about 4.9 acres. So between the detention pond, which we need to control stormwater, and the houses and the driveway, our total disturbed area is approximately half of the total area of the 3 lots. Lot 1 is about 2 acres, and then the other 2 lots are reduced frontage lots, so they have 50 feet of frontage, and they have over 4.5 acres, I think. 4.07. So I think 4 acres is the limit for the reduced frontage lot. So lots 2 and 3 are reduced frontage lots. So Laurie has pulled up the plan here, which shows the limit of the driveway on the left side of the screen, the dash line proposed. So the easement line is 30 feet, and then the proposed pavement width is 20 feet. So up at the end, or the southerly end of the driveway, where the hammerhead is, that hammerhead is proposed so that the fire trucks can turn around and come in, and if there wasn't a fire, they can easily get out of the site. So that is a typical dimensional turnaround for the big fire trucks.
Question while you're talking about that.
Yep.
Will both lots 3A and 2A connect to the hammerhead? Like, I don't see the houses on there, so I was wondering, are they
Yes.
sharing the hammerhead?
Yeah, so there's a little bit of driveway easement on lot 3A. I think it's, Laurie, you just had that earlier a second ago, Laurie, but yeah, so the limit, a little bit of the hammerhead is on 3A, but most of it is on 2A, the
Mhm.
majority of it.
But the house, will that be up on the hammerhead? Is that what happens?
No, the hammerhead, so the folks that buy the house for lot 3A, they basically will drive right through a portion of the hammerhead and get to their house.
I see it now. Yeah. It was down, I didn't see it at first where the house was.
Okay, well, it doesn't show on that other sheet because that's the sheet that goes to the registry of deeds, just the way we prepare the drawings. Um, so conservation wise, we have actually ended up adding a plan. So originally we had an erosion control plan, a profile of the driveway, so that DPW could see the slopes and the drainage and all that. But we actually have added a drawing plan of temporary sediment storage areas, which, so that's the profile. Yep, that's the profile of the driveway, and the slopes meet the planning board regulations. I think we might be up around 9%, but the middle of the driveway is like 7%, I believe, or vice versa. Um, conservation agent Vinny now has asked me to add a couple of double catch basins, so he was concerned about potential water going onto Reservoir Street, which
Mm,
the regulation don't really allow. So um, the first two catch basins in the middle of the driveway are they'll be double graded in a 5 foot diameter versus 4 foot diameter. Um, so that has made some serious help to the drainage system itself. The temporary sediment areas, we're phasing the construction of the. Can we go back to, let's see, so sheet six has the total, a dotted line for the disturbed area, plus it has the phasing line. So in phase one, we'll only be constructing the driveway up to about 300 feet in, I think. Let's see, up to, yep, there's the phasing line there, yep. Just beyond the house for lot one. So phase one, we need to get the big temporary sediment basins constructed right at the beginning so that any construction water will head towards our silt fence and our temporary sediment storage area. So this additional plan has helped a great deal to help me convince Vinny that we have a good solution to store temporary sediment on the site. Laurie had one question later this morning about the water line. So I think originally that either the first, so October and December. So I think we did have two meetings. Yeah. So maybe the second meeting was in December. We talked a little bit about the water line because there is town water on Crawford Street, but to bring the water line under the culvert that goes to carries the water Cold Harbor Brook under Reservoir Street, we would have to dig down like 10 or 11 feet because the box culvert is so big. So the fire chief, your regulations actually allow us to sprinkle the houses. So these houses, and I believe the draft condition adds a note that the houses will have to have sprinkler systems in them. How they call it, fire suppression or sprinklers, and that's going to be a condition of the approval.
I just have a question for Lori while we're talking about this.
Yep.
I went through 1036.130, which is what we have to approve for the common driveways. And it does say if it's within 2,000 feet of the municipal water service, the applicant shall be responsible for extending the water service. So I did reach out today to Scott and Josh, and Scott said it was okay if they didn't connect, but I'm thinking that we might have to do a waiver for that too. This might be a fourth waiver because it says shall.
So Bob, can you do me a favor and email me a waiver request from that requirement?
Yes, we can do that. Yep.
Okay, so
So
then
I
we
don't
can
have that
add
waiver
that to the
request.
list of motions when you're ready to vote.
Okay.
And for the board, and you probably just heard me, but I read it today, so I did reach out to Scott and Josh because I wasn't sure if they were going to be here today, and I asked them about it, and they did review it and say it was okay to waive that and allow sprinklers. And Josh, I think you're on the line too.
Yeah, we took a look at it. As long as the fire department is okay with the sprinklers, I don't think it's necessary to extend that water main. I think the cost would be prohibitive for this project. Just dealing with that culvert and the amount of effort that it would take to put a water line underneath it, really would probably be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. So it would be very, very expensive to extend that water line to this property.
Okay, thank you. Sorry for interrupting, Bob.
That was
Let's
fine.
see, that's kind of an overview of where we're at. Are there any specific questions to jog the all the members, or I know we have one new member who can't vote, but Carter, but um, I know it's been a while since we've been before the board, but
What I was thinking we could do is bring up Lori's review letter
okay,
because we left off going through her review letter and she had a long list of items on it.
okay.
So I can share it. Let's see. This is small, so I hope I'm opening the right one. No, that's wrong. Yeah, I just have to click on the right. There we go. Okay. Does everybody see the review letter?
Mm-hmm.
The bottom, it says February 25th, Lori sent out 3 different review letters, so this was the third one. And we can go through them super fast, but many of them have been addressed. So number 1, the comment was addressed, and it's on sheet 2. Let me pull mine up. Number 2, it was addressed. Number 3, there was a concern, and Lori was looking for deferring to the assistant DPW director, which is Josh. And Josh, you can answer for this one if you'd like. I asked him today, and he said it was fine.
Yeah, the plan is supposed to, the regulations require 2 lines on the plan showing the left edge of the driveway and the right edge of the driveway. Um, Sometimes these lines are hard to decipher if there's not a big difference between the edges of the driveway. I think what Bob did is he showed the center line of the driveway, and then he added a note about super elevation, basically, which is stating that one edge of the driveway is going to be higher than the other in order to direct the water to the side of the driveway that has the drainage structures on it. And I think as long as we can determine what the center line is, and we know that there's going to be a 2% slope across the driveway, we can get a pretty good idea of exactly what they're proposing out there. So I didn't think it was necessary to have the other 2 lines on the plan. Sometimes more lines on the plan just makes it a little more difficult to decipher. So in this case, due to the scale of the plan, I didn't think it was necessary to have those two lines, as long as we had the center line with the note.
Okay. Does anyone on the board have a question?
Not on that.
Nope.
No? Okay, so the fourth one, it's been addressed. The fifth comment, Lori, you said there were still a couple of locations where the staked wattle is outside of the limit of disturbance.
Yeah, if you stop sharing, I can share this at the locations.
Okay, hope I can find my way back here.
Mhm. All right, let's see. They're pretty minor, but I just wanted to call attention. So if you can see my arrow,
Mhm.
so the red dotted line denotes the limit of disturbance. So he's showing that the hay bales extend beyond the limit of disturbance in that location, as well
That's
as,
just, that's just so we catch the siltation. That doesn't mean we're disturbing that area. I think, I don't think they have to coincide, but I don't understand. So we're putting up siltation control and I'm showing you a graphic of the limit of disturbance so I can get an area. That's basically the purpose of that. It's not staked out yet. It will be staked out, but
and here's the other location. I mean, it's pretty minor. There may not be any vegetation that would be disturbed, but of course, when you're staking, you could be disturbing vegetation. So generally, what engineers do is they extend the limit of disturbance to include the erosion control barrier. So I didn't include it as a condition of approval because I thought it was a minor issue. However, I did just want to point it out in the letter.
Okay, so you don't feel it's not worthy of anything, yeah,
I don't think it needs to be a condition.
okay. So we'll bring this back up. That was number 5. Number 6 was addressed by the latest plan. Number 7, it called for a minimum standard of 33 feet. They've requested a waiver. I did ask Josh as a town engineer if if there's a problem, if we waived it to 30 feet. And he didn't have a problem.
Yeah, I don't think it's an issue that it's 30 feet instead of 33. The pavement area is also, fully inside that easement, so I think it's not an issue.
Okay, thanks. But you did mention if there were more than 3 houses, it could be. So in the future, if we did get a common driveway and they asked for a waiver, it's probably always best to ask you.
Yeah,
Or an
I would say if this was if there was 10 houses up there, the amount of traffic would be, a lot, it would be increased a lot. So you would want a wider road that's safer. I think with the 3 houses there, I think the 30-foot easement is plenty. And I think that the width of the roadway is also sufficient. I don't foresee too much traffic going up and down. So.
Okay, thank you. Alrighty. So number 8 was addressed. Number 9 was addressed. Number 10 was addressed. 11,
I made that a condition of approval. It's now 4A in the draft decision.
okay. And then number 12 is also a condition. Oh, number 12 is talking about the plants. So that was addressed in the plan.
That was addressed.
Okay. Number 13. Oh, is the plants.
Yeah, he put a comment on the design plans. Number 13 is addressed.
Okay. Actually, with 12, is that a condition? I think I looked for that one. where the existing vegetation should be removed to the west.
If I remember correctly, it was included as a comment. Bob, can you speak for that?
I thought we added a note, but there's not, there's only a few of the tall grass that's in front of the Horgans property that I think we're discussing here. I think we can, do you have it in the, as a condition already, Laurie? I think we could leave it as a condition. That's fine. It's a very small amount of, vegetation. It's in the right of way that, they planted in front of their stone wall. So I don't want to be cutting down stuff in front of people's houses that we don't have to. So
Mm,
I think it's fair to look at it once the project starts. But it will be trimmed if it as a condition of the permit.
I can add that. I'll look in the decision again to see if it's in there. I
Okay.
thought it was in there. If not, I'll add it as a condition.
Okay, as long as, like you said, we're not cutting down anything in front of anyone else's house. Unless it is blocking the right of way. And that was one of the questions I had too, and I didn't notice it anywhere. It says we need 100-foot light of sign sight line. Is there 100 feet or 200 feet when you come
I
out of the
think
driveway, line of
I think
sight?
there's over 200 feet of line of sight, but I think the comment was that Laurie was looking for some topography to the west of the property, and I added a little detail of that to, I think, the grading plan. So that item has been addressed. It's on the, should be on the grading plan. That
Okay,
was, and we have, but site distance is over 200 feet. So that
okay,
comment is more a drawing comment than site distance. If
okay,
I,
Yeah, he put on sheet number 2A. Oh my gosh, I got a small version of the plan and I need reading glasses.
I
or
got the,
magnifying
says-
glass.
215 feet, looking towards the left. And I just can't read the other number because
400 feet going the other way, going to the east, Laurie, 400 feet going down towards
Okay,
Crawford.
thank you.
Okay,
I
thank
do have
you.
a big set here laying down in front of me.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
So number 14 talks about a street light. And it's not really street light, right? When I first read that, I'm like, oh my gosh, you don't want 20-foot high street lights because I know in my neighborhood we have no lights, so I wouldn't want big lights out in the woods. So these are more like driveway lights. How
Correct.
tall are they?
So I had emailed a detail of a proposed light that Laurie had liked. I don't have it in front of me, but I think it was 12 feet high, 12 or 13 feet.
I think I have it. Yeah, I think it was like 104 inches, it said. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna share it.
It's 102 inches.
8.5.
Okay. Now with that, because
So
that looks like it's
that
not,
was sitting on the concrete base. So it might be, the base might be 6 inches off the ground. So
doesn't look like it would be dark skies compliant. Do you think so, Lori? Wouldn't that shine out? I just don't want anything that would be on the driveway that would be shining right into the neighbor's window if it's on the driveway.
let's see.
I think you asked for 3 of them, Lori, one at the top, one in the middle, and one at the street.
Yes, and I added a condition of approval that says it should also be added at the end of the cul-de-sac.
Right, so that would be at the top at the hammerhead,
Correct.
and then one in the middle and one on the street.
Yeah, I think I
Yeah.
have two right. I have two right now.
Uh,
I have one in about 20 feet and then one about 280 feet up the driveway, so maybe one about 500 feet up would be good.
Okay. I think I saw the neighbors on the line. I don't think they've raised their hand yet, but it's not beside their property where it would shine into their house, is it? Like, are these on all night?
Um, that's a good question. No, I don't think they would need to be on all night.
Mhm.
So if we had three, each house could have a switch for it, I guess. Or the, good question.
Right. Does anybody on the board have any concerns, or do you want to talk about this when we get to the conditions? This was one of the conditions.
Bob, I'm looking at the profile plan and you're
Okay.
showing three lights. So then there would just be one added at the end, so that would be a total of 4.
Oh, yeah, you're correct. Three. Yep.
And now there's 4.
The four,
Total of
if we
4.
add one, it would be four total, correct. And they're pretty far from the Horgan property. I mean, lot 1A is over 200 feet wide. Um, so the lights,
Mhm. I just don't know what the other board members think. I know it's like my personal opinion, like my street has no lights, so I wouldn't want, but most houses do have a light at the end of their driveway.
Mhm.
I don't know if this would be any more than that. It's 8 feet high, you said?
yeah, it's pretty much a typical light for a house.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have the same thing outside my house, and it's about 8 feet high.
Yeah,
Mhm.
as do we, and I'm wondering, what's the closest house across the street? I mean, is there gonna be something that's right across the street from this, or?
There would be. There's one light at the intersection of the common driveway and Reservoir Street.
Okay.
Okay. We can talk about this again later, maybe when we call for public comments, maybe some of the abutters will share their thoughts.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing this and I'll bring up the other. To find my way back. Actually, I don't think I have to stop sharing, right? You can switch back and forth.
Well, I can make it easy on you and just tell you that the rest of my comments were addressed.
Okay, let me just pull it up for a sec.
I did include a condition of approval regarding the homeowners association, as well as the fact that there shall be no occupancy permit until the driveway is 100% complete, or alternatively, the applicant can submit a performance guarantee, which covers 100% of the cost of the remaining work plus a 20% contingency factor.
So, Lori, actually on that note, is there a time frame for that? And what is there an actual definition of what is 100% complete?
So that would mean that he has to submit an as-built plan, and all of the improvements that are shown on this plan must be completed in order to sign off on the as-built plan.
Okay, because I'm just trying to make sure that we don't get in a situation that did happen earlier. I think you were on the board then, but I'm not sure. It might have been before your time, where there was a condition that the common driveway had to be completed before the last parcel.
Yes, that is to address this issue.
Okay.
So I'm very much aware of that issue.
Oh.
So of course I wasn't on, working with the board at the time,
Right.
but it's taken like 20 years to resolve the issue.
Yeah.
So I don't want that to happen again. So the idea of the performance guarantee is to ensure that it won't happen again. So ideally, what I would recommend is that the planning board require cash, because that is a huge incentive to complete the project, because that cash will just be sitting in an account that the town of Northborough manages for however long it takes for the work to be completed.
So there is no, there would no, is there any reason that we would want to put a time frame on that and then revisit it if it's not met?
Well, there is a condition of approval. Let me tell you which one
I
it
just want to make
is.
sure there's no loopholes that we can have
Yeah,
come back.
it says, let's see,
I think it was 2 years, but to revisit, but
number 19 of
Mhm.
the draft conditions says that it must be fully constructed within 4 years.
4 years. Okay. Okay.
So it's only 3 houses. So
Right.
I thought that 4 years was more than generous.
And originally it was 3 on number 20 here, but you just 4 just in case, is that?
You know, this project's been going on for so long, so it's hard for me to remember. I suspect that Bob may have asked for 4 years, but I can't say for sure. Bob, did you ask me for 4 years? Is that why I changed it?
I don't remember discussing it actually. I mean, 2 years 2 years to start something is reasonable because let's say the applicant had to put it on the market, let's say. So 4 years to finish um, is reasonable. I mean, as long as there's a bond. Um, but I guess 2 years after it can start a construction would be reasonable also. So what you really want, you don't care if somebody doesn't start it for a year, but once they start, you want to get this thing done. So
It's 4 years from the date of approval. So
four
if
years
it
from
just
date of approval.
languages
So
for 2 years,
yeah.
then they only have 2 years to construct.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, that makes some sense. So that makes good sense. Regarding
And
that cash bond, though, Laurie, so typically the builder doesn't want to put the final coat of pavement down until that last house is, pretty well finished. Doesn't have to be 100%, but they don't want trucks driving over the finished pavement.
that,
So
that is fine.
I
That is
think
fine. So
the
then you
applicant,
just put up a cash performance guarantee for the top course of pavement. And then you can get that occupancy permit for that final lot.
And that needs to be done within a 4-year time period, because again, I just don't want to run into that situation where the top coat was not put on for well over, I think it was 10 years, 12 years. And by then the road had degraded to the point where we had to kind of redo a whole road.
yeah, I've seen that on other projects, but it really depends on the builder. It's a builder developer question. But so
Right.
to limit it is a good idea. And 4 years is perfectly reasonable.
Okay. And
Okay, so
Lori, you're
that's,
confident that that situation would be avoided with this language?
I am.
Okay.
so that's condition for number 20.
You know, I will tell you, I personally do not like insurance bonds, surety bonds. I don't think that we have a lot of power to pull those bonds and complete a project. So when the time comes, I will strongly, strongly recommend either a tripartite agreement or a cash bond.
Okay.
In fact, if you want to modify this language to specify either a cash bond or a tripartite agreement, I'd be happy to do that.
I think so, because
Yeah.
6 months from now, we won't remember this discussion.
Okay, let
So
me,
you might, I might not.
let me add that.
Yeah, thank you.
So number 19, you said there's already a condition in there?
There is, and then the surety requirement is number 5.
Okay,
Okay.
all right. And then number 21. You said that's a condition also. It's already addressed, but you have it a condition on the new approval?
Yes, I put that as 2E.
Okay. It makes it quicker if we just check it off as we go down, so we know that we included it all.
Mm-hmm.
So that is all of Lori's letter. I'll stop sharing. Does anybody have any additional questions with that? We also had letters, well, I'll let you speak too, but we also have letters from Vinny and Josh.
So I worked directly with Vinny
Mm-hmm.
on the conditions of approval. So he had suggested some conditions in his letter. And then I incorporated his conditions into my existing language. And then I gave him a copy of the draft decision so that he could look to see how I incorporated them. And he was fine with the way that I incorporated them.
Okay. The only question I had about that is he dated his memo June 5th by mistake. So
Yeah.
if we make a decision on June 3rd and his memo says June 5th,
Now
like, can we
that's his
change it?
typo. I mean, I can ask him to change his letter. If you prefer it to say like June 3rd.
But if you've
Yeah.
already
I
incorporated
put
it,
the date that the letter actually stated.
So the date would be what would be under the exhibits or the letters.
Yeah,
So if he updated it and resent it with the correct date, then it should be all set.
that's fine.
If it's the
I'll
same
ask
exact
him
memo.
to change that.
I just didn't know if that would be frowned upon.
I
So
think
then
it's-
Josh, I don't know if you mind speaking to your letter. Josh sent out a letter in November and December. And I emailed him today to ask him if he was concerned about anything else or if the applicant had satisfied all his conditions.
Yeah, I went through the letters, both of them from November and December. It appears that everything has been satisfied. A lot of the issues were related to drafting. And you know, there was a lot of information on the plan, and I believe that Bob had added some extra sheets so that they weren't so dense. And besides that, everything else has been addressed. All the issues that I had been mentioning.
Okay.
And I also worked with Dave Parente, the fire chief, to make sure that he was happy with the condition of approval. So
No
I
relation, no relation.
Parenti, yes.
It's spelled the same.
Amy pointed out in the draft decision that I mixed up your names. So I had one of you with the I and the other with the E, and it was reversed. So I
Oh, it was,
did
okay.
that. So
That
that
is
condition
confusing.
of approval has been approved by Dave Parenti, and I believe I sent you an email to that effect.
Yep. Okay, so it sounds like all of the staff have had all their concerns answered. And does anybody on the planning board have any further questions before we go to public comments?
Nope.
No, that
I
was
do
the only
not.
one I had was the driveway issue.
Okay. All right, I see one person raising their hand. Does anyone mind bringing him in? Or do I just click on it?
That's Bob Parente. Oh, somebody
Oh.
else. I
I
So Bob-
lowered my hand. Yeah,
bringing
I
in
think
the
I'd raised it
Hoagans.
before to make sure I was recognized.
Okay,
Mike
so Mike,
and Tracy Horgan are on.
okay.
Hi,
Hi, please.
Hi, this is Michael and Tracy Horgan. We're at 17 Reservoir Street. I just wanted to make a comment. You asked for some input too on those lights. I'm not sure what driveway lights, that document was referring to. I know that the image there's an image at the top of a of the street of the light, and
Mhm.
that does not look dark sky compliant. I don't know what the criteria for dark sky compliant is, but I think we would prefer if there was a street or a driveway light that focused the light down toward the driveway more instead of out into the woods. I know from our house, at 17 Reservoir Street, right next door to the project area. In the winter time, when there's a couple of houses on Crawford Street, when they put on their front lights, we can actually see those lights, put on their lights next to the door. So when the leaves are off the trees, it does, you can see through those woods pretty clearly. So if there were a light that were available that would focus the light maybe down toward the driveway, which is where you want the light anyways. That's something that we would like to see if that is, I don't know what the rules and regulations are, but I think that's something that we would prefer over that light there, that looks like it just sort of is a chandelier that brights up the whole area, that's all.
Yeah, thank you. I agree as a planning board member. Do you? Dark sky compliant would shine it down versus
I think,
allowing
like,
it.
there's a common driveway on Church Street where they have on the street, it's a light and it's very focused, facing right down. And that would probably be more appropriate, at least for where the street is.
So maybe we can change the condition to say, driveway light that is dark sky compliant, 8 feet high. Approximately 8 feet high.
I think that's already in there. That's 4B, I think.
Okay.
Dark sky compliant. That's the first time I heard it. I had just sent this over to the planning board as a idea, I guess. But yeah, there's nothing set in stone with this light, so I'd be happy to take a ride down Church Street and see what they're using down there, and get a similar one if that would make everybody.
Yeah, I will say that the website you have listed here, they actually do filter by dark sky compliant as well. So you can check that box and then see what the options are.
Oh, okay, perfect.
I see the condition 5. I'm just wondering if we can add a height to it because it says install and energize LED dark sky compliant area lights. And I think we should set aside size because I know like Bartlett Street, when they did the dark sky compliant lights, they're 20 feet high. But since this is a driveway, I'm sure they wouldn't do 20 feet high, but it's better to be safe than sorry.
I would say no more than 10 if you were all agreeable to it. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, seems reasonable.
especially if we're gonna, shine it down or more down than this one here.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Great.
Lori, do you mind updating it? The
Nope, no
condition to
problem.
add a height, no more than 10?
Yep.
Okay. Stop sharing. And see if there's any more. There are no more hands raised. Okay. Saying there are no more hands raised, we can go through the conditions of the decision, or we can go through, actually, I'll start by going through the common driveway criteria, just to make sure we meet them all.
Mhm.
And I'm not going to close the hearing because if we want to have any discussion with Mr. Parenti, we can't if we close the hearing.
Right.
So the common driveway, I don't have that pulled up on my screen, but it's 1036-130. And this is more than 2 lots. So the minimum paved width needs to be 33 feet, which he's asking for a waiver, and the town engineer said that's fine.
I think that's the right of way with Amy, not the pavement with.
Okay,
Right of
right
way.
away. And the pavement has to be 22 and it's 20.
Correct,
So you
correct.
asked for waivers on both of those, and I just want to get your opinion. Do the board members have a problem with those waivers?
No,
Staff
as
did
long
not.
as long as Josh says that they're okay, I'm fine with that. And the
Okay.
fire department.
The second criteria is maximum grade 10% and they're 9%. And within 50 feet of the street line, 6%, and they're just under that too with 5.65%, I think. Or
Uh,
5.95.
5.9.
Yep. So they do fall underneath the criteria. And so then they're okay with number 2. Number 3, curb cut not nearer than 65 feet from the center line intersection of the right of way. And I'm assuming you made that. I don't know the answer to that one.
Mm,
What?
yeah.
Read that again, Amy. I wasn't.
Curb cut, not nearer than 65 feet from the center line intersections of any right of way.
Yeah, our closest right away is Crawford Street. It's like 500 feet away.
Mhm.
Okay,
I think it, you don't want a driveway right at an intersection.
right.
Right.
Number 4, minimum center line radius 60 feet, and you stated that you're at 80 feet.
Correct.
Okay, number 5, site distance, I already went through. It says minimum of 200 feet, and you said it was, both of them were over 200 feet.
Correct.
Common driveway easement shall be located a minimum of 15 feet from the abutting property lines. We discussed that at a previous meeting, and I think you said they're about 20 feet away.
Correct. The edge of the easement, correct.
Okay, and then number 7, house numbering. This has to do with probably the sign, right? The
Mhm.
common driveway sign. House
So
number,
he's gonna
Yep.
have the house numbers redone. So of course, you folks are asked to approve the name Romeo Common Driveway. So if that is the name that you approve, then the houses will be renumbered so that they will have Romeo Common Drive addresses.
okay.
Okay.
Maybe while we're at this point, do I have a motion to approve the name Romeo Common Driveway?
You
Or I don't do it
you
now?
can't do that until after you close the public hearing. But you
Okay,
can take a straw poll.
all right, I'll take the straw poll and I'll add it on to my list of motions. Does anybody have a problem with Romeo Common Driveway?
Mm-mm.
You're not.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Um, why did you pick the name Romeo?
The
Or-
land's been in the Romeo family since 1964, I think.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
3 of the lots, actually 4 lots, so I needed a name and that seemed appropriate.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
So the owners, do they know it's Romeo Common Driveway? Because
They
they
do.
still own it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, they still own it. Yeah, still in the estate, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And I did put that as a condition of approval as 4A.
Okay.
So Laurie, would it be crazy to say there could be 3, 7, and 11 Romeo Drive, or I don't, I think the assessors created the the house numbers for these when the approval not required plan was. I'm just trying to get ahead of what you're
Yes,
thinking. You're thinking of
that's
something, but
correct. Yep, so so they'll have to renumber these lots.
okay.
So they automatically do it when an A&R plan is approved. But now that you're doing a common driveway, they have to be renumbered.
Okay.
Okay. So now if I go down to part B, it talks about the design of common driveways shall assure adequate safety for emergency vehicles, water service, including hydrants and adequate drainage, surface water, and turnaround in all seasons by emergency vehicles. And the applicant has been working with conservation. Did you close it out with conservation already?
No, our meeting is next, the 9th, I think, next week.
Okay. But
So
you think
what we
it's,
tried to do is to get it to a point with conservation where I could come back and re-show this to the planning board. I didn't want to be not ready to get approved by the conservation, so I think we're at that point with conservation. And I think
okay,
Laurie has put a condition in there that we still need the land disturbance permit, so
that's in there, Lori?
Yeah,
that's
that
in one of the
is
things.
condition number 1.
Okay.
So
So the
I just
next,
put it in the general, they have to comply with all regulations.
Mm,
okay. So the next part, it talks about the proposed common driveway. If it's located within 2,000 feet of municipal water service, they have to run it. And we just discussed that they're gonna need a waiver from that. So before we vote on it, Lori, does he have to email you the waiver?
Um, well, I think that we can believe that he will email it to me tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I could go to
So
my other computer maybe and email it, but that's up to you guys.
no, you can do it. It only
I can do it
takes,
right after the meeting. I can do it right after the meeting.
yeah, or we can take like a 5-minute break and you can send it just so we have it.
Okay.
It's a waiver from 1036-130B1.
Can you say that one more time, Amy, for me?
Sure. 10-36-130
Yep, yep.
B1.
B1, okay.
Yeah.
And that's the subdivision rules and regulations.
mm-hmm.
Correct.
And it's probably B1 and 2 because number 2 relates to 1. If you have a water line, you need 8 inches and you need 1. So it's 1, 2, 3. All right. So B1, 2, and 3.
Mm-hmm.
Well, probably he could just say 1036-130B. And
Well, B number
that would
4
be
has
the
to do with turnarounds. So B,
entirety of B.
we don't want to waive all of B because
No,
B4 has to do with the turnarounds and the hammerheads.
Okay,
the 1036, 130, B1, 2, and 3.
Yep.
Okay.
In number 4, it says for safety purposes, turnarounds at the end of each common driveway. And we already discussed that with the
We have
hammerhead.
that. Yes, we have that covered, correct.
Yeah. And number 5 talks about the common driveway is exceeding 500 feet in length. Additional measures for public safety may be required. So, I mean,
I'm pretty sure that's when Laurie asked for the light, or based
Yeah.
on my memory. Why
yeah,
don't we put some?
that's a light. And also if there's a water main, sometimes they have you add a hydrant or things like that. But since there's no water main, I guess you don't need a hydrant. Okay, so we move on to C, a declaration of covenants, easements, and restrictions and maintenance of said common driveways may be required by the board and shall include arrangements satisfactory to the board concerning roadway maintenance, snow plowing, and rubbish collection. So I saw online there is a covenant up on the page, the website. Do we have to do anything with that, Lori?
so I did forward that to town council, but he didn't have enough time to respond with comments, so I put in a condition that says, let's see. It's number 3, having to do with the approval of the homeowners association documents and the declaration of covenants, easements, and restrictions. So then that's where I added Vinnie's comments that these documents shall be revised to reference the stormwater management and land disturbance permit instead of the order of conditions.
Okay, is that something they come back to us with the homeowners or how does that work? Since it's after tonight?
Well, you have a draft that was sent to you last week.
Mhm.
Typically, it's because this isn't town property. Typically, we don't really get involved in how it's made up, just to, other than to make sure that all of the bases are covered. But if you folks want revisions, you can certainly suggest them. Typically, town council will require some revisions. So, but that could be done as an administrative function once I get that from town council. So right now it says that they have to get approval.
Oh, the condition says they have to get approval from town council or
Yeah.
from the planning board.
So if you folks have comments, you can email those to me anytime after this meeting. And then I will forward those comments as well as town council's comments to Bob.
I didn't see I read the covenant. I didn't see the homeowners. But does that include the clean out of both of the water? They're not retention basins. What are they called?
One's an infiltration basin and one's a detention pond. The little one at the front's a detention pond.
Okay.
Yeah, maintenance will be included in all of the verbiage that we're working with conservation. Maintenance of those areas. Inspection and maintenance, actually.
So
Okay.
both of those documents, it's the fourth to the bottom on the web page and the third to the bottom on the web page. When you look at Reservoir Street, Common Drive, the 3711 Reservoir Street, scroll down to the bottom, fourth to the bottom and third to the bottom.
Is it long if I open it, the homeowners association?
It's a few pages.
Couple pages.
Did anyone have time to read it? Do they have any comments?
I didn't see anything out of the ordinary in it.
Okay, did it include roadway maintenance, snow plowing and rubbish? I think rubbish, Laura, you said will be at the bottom of the common driveway, probably right on Reservoir Street.
Yeah, the trash vendor does not typically drive up common driveways.
Right.
Mhm.
Laurie, one quick question on number 3 there. Stormwater management and land disturbance permit. So are they number 2025? So would our permit probably be 2025 dash something? Not, we're in 2025, not
you know,
24. We don't have that
well,
number.
I think that's
Right.
Vinnie's number, and typically the date,
Yeah.
the number is assigned based on when you filed. So if you filed in 2024,
Oh, okay.
then that's why it's that date.
Oh, so that might be our number. That might be, that's not just a boilerplate number that gets stuck in there, right?
No, that's the number that Vinnie gave me.
Okay,
So
all
that's
right,
the number of your stormwater management and land disturbance permit, which
Okay.
has not yet been issued.
correct.
Okay, does anybody else have any other concerns with the C, covenants, easements and restrictions?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so for D, all common driveways, the rate of post-development runoff shall not exceed the rate of pre-development runoff. The drainage system must be approved by the town engineer and the planning board. Did that all go through Concom?
It has, yes.
Because we haven't
DPW
seen that.
DPW and Concom, correct.
Okay, so Josh, you can verify that the rate of post-development runoff is not exceeding the rate of pre-development runoff?
Yeah, I can verify that. That was in the documentation provided earlier.
Okay,
And is that something that gets tested once everything's complete?
Uh,
Well, we model typical storms that are given to us by the Soil Conservation Service. You can't really monitor, hopefully, everything.
I didn't think so. Yeah.
Huh? Yeah,
We
it's
do
not,
require, under condition 17, so we do require an as-built plan And then we also require a certification from the design professional engineer stating that the drainage system was built substantially in accordance with the design and will perform as designed.
Okay, that's good. So for
Assuming
E,
every-
it talks to,
Yeah,
If we get a 100
assuming
year
that everything
storm-
is done as built and as planned. Yeah,
Correct.
got it. Okay.
and then for E, not more than one certificate of occupancy shall be issued until the planning board certifies in writing that the common driveway has been completed. And you already spoke to this, Lori?
I did. So that is the condition where we talked about the performance guarantee. So that's
Mhm.
number 5.
All right, and then the last one, F, all common driveways shall exit onto the frontage street, which it does.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that is all the criteria for the 1036-130 common driveways. Should I can go down the criteria now before we close it and make motions. I can go down the criteria for the special permit. It's on page 716. Well, I'm on the 2023 book.
Mm-hmm. I think that's
So
the most recent one we had, right?
yeah. So I'll ask everybody what they so we can go through this, Lori, right? And then we take our vote saying that we have satisfied these two, right? So we're just discussing it now.
Sure.
I just want to make sure I'm going through the right.
Just make sure you don't vote on it until you close the public hearing.
Right. But do we all, this is like a straw poll vote, like where we say yes, right? Or should we close it and then go through this criteria?
I think you can close the public hearing and then go through the criteria as long as everybody's satisfied with the conditions of approval. And if you want to add a condition, it's always good to do that in the public hearing.
Should we pull up the conditions? You said, I think you have them open on your computer, but I might have them open on mine too,
Yeah, let me see.
just to make sure. There's a lot here, a lot of paperwork.
Okay, you see that?
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay, so the red ones are the ones that came in late today. And if you want me to pause on any particular condition, I'd be happy to do so. Otherwise, I'll just slowly go through them.
Did everybody have time to read it? Because that's another thing, is that we could leave the hearing open and vote on it at our next meeting, because you hate to rush if you think something's missing and you want to read it. Because once we vote, we're done.
I got a chance to read it, but
Yeah, I went through it.
Did I?
Okay, I went through it too. I just want to make sure, because that's always an option. Sometimes we don't want to rush through it and then have regrets. Oh, Lori, and you were gonna update. Should we do it right now or it's not updatable? You were gonna update on the lights.
Yeah, I'll do that on my own. I just wanna, this is a PDF version.
Mm-hmm.
I was having trouble getting into the Word version, so I will do that on my own tomorrow and email that out.
So we'll have to use that part of the motion. Is that the only update we need to do?
So I have a few updates noted. So under letter, well, there is the possibility, if it's not on the plan, to add a condition about the need to clear vegetation along the road right of way to improve sight distance. Under 4B, my notes state, so here's 4B, that I'm to specify that the light shall be no more than 10 feet in height.
Mhm.
Number 5, I'm going to eliminate the language that says, in accordance with the subdivision rules and regulations, section 102802, I'm going to specify that it should be a cash or tripartite agreement performance guarantee,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it.
So Amy, to answer your question earlier, you had asked about what time the lights would be on. It's right there in 4B, dusk to dawn sensor.
Hmm. Right, so that means they'll be on from dusk to dawn.
Yep.
And then under the waivers, I'm going to add the waiver pertaining to subdivision rules and regulations, section 10-36-130, subsection B 1 through 3.
Mm-hmm.
So that has to do with a waiver of the water main extension.
Yep.
And then we might have to add a couple emails, like after 17. I think I
Yep.
had an email exchange with Josh. So
Yep.
there was, yeah.
So I'll add those tomorrow.
All right. I'm just writing it down because when we make the motion. Yeah. Do we want to take a second and have him send us the waiver so we have that? We could take a little 5-minute break.
Yes, I'm typing it right now, Amy, so 5 minutes would probably be perfect. I'm not that great a typist.
Okay.
I
And
will
then
send it over to Laurie. I'll send it over to
come back-
Laurie in a few
we'll come
minutes.
back at
Thank
like
you.
7:16.
Okay.
All right. See you in a bit.
Yep. You got a 5 minute break. I like your glasses, Millie.
Oh, thank you. Uh,
I saw the memo come in, Lori. So I guess we're good.
Yes.
Maybe everyone decided to take 10. They escaped.
Somehow I lost my pen in that short period of time. I gotta go find it.
That email come through, Lori, for you, okay?
Yes, thank you, Bob.
You're welcome.
Okay, is everybody back?
Think
I'm
so.
back.
Okay, I still see the Horgans on as part of the meeting. Okay, well, it looks like everybody's back. So we'll continue on. I did see the memo come in with the waiver from the applicant, so thank you very much. And so I guess now, if nobody has any more questions, we can move to close the public hearing. I'm gonna check in the audience one more time, make sure there are no hands raised. I see Mike and Tracy Horgan have their hand raised, so I'm gonna call on them. I don't know, it says report. How do I bring them
They're
forward?
already here. All they have to do is
Okay.
unmute.
Okay.
I
Hello?
only have, okay.
Yeah, so just real quick, I know, I don't know where.
State your name and address again,
I'm
sorry.
This is Michael and Tracy Horgan, 17 Reservoir Street. The question I have, and just maybe just some clarification, I know previously there was a public hearing on the scenic roads. There was something about rebuilding the stone wall and some other things that were discussed during that part of the of this project. Does that come out in these conditions, or is that a separate list of conditions? I'm not sure how that public hearing relates to this and when all of that would come out, or how that would come out, in conjunction with what you're discussing tonight.
Or do you want to answer? I know what.
Sure, sure. That was a separate decision that was rendered a couple of months ago. So there's no need to replicate those conditions here because they are already memorialized in that decision.
Okay,
Okay, any more questions? Oh, you're all set. Okay, I guess he's all set. All right, so hearing no more questions, do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Okay, first by Bill, second by Millie. Roll call vote. Millie Milton,
Aye.
Bill Pierce,
Aye.
Anthony Zaitin.
Aye.
And do I call him Carter even though he can't vote? He can close the hearing, right? Or he can't partake at all?
Yeah, he shouldn't partake at all.
Okay. And
And the
Amy,
reason being that he missed 2 sessions of the public hearing, so he's not eligible to vote. You're only eligible to vote if you miss 1 session of the public hearing.
Mhm. Yep. Okay. And I'm an aye. So the hearing is now closed. The first thing I'll do is we already talked about all the criteria for the common driveway and everybody is all set with that. So I'm going to go down the criteria for the site plan. It's on page 716 in our books. So the decision criteria, given the location, type, and extent of the land use proposed by the proponent, the design of the building form, location, egress points, grading, and other elements could not be reasonably altered to reduce clearing and grading on the site or reduce the volume of cut or fill, the number of trees, the length of removed or altered stone walls, the area of wetland vegetation displaced, the extent of stormwater flow increase, soil erosion, or threat of air or water pollution. Any comments?
Just the fact that there's no building that we're actually approving on this at this point. Does that,
Well, I think we reduced clearing by doing 1 driveway versus 3. So I think that, the driveway is what's being built.
right.
The condition or the criteria just covers all bases. But
Okay.
are you okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's mainly reduced clearing and grading on the site.
Right.
Yeah. Is everybody okay with that one?
Yep.
Yep. Okay, number 2, reduce the risk of groundwater contamination from on-site wastewater disposal systems or operations on the premises involving the use, storage, handling, or containment of hazardous substances. There shouldn't be any hazardous substances here.
Right.
Okay. So we'll go on to 3. Improve pedestrian, bicycle, or vehicular safety, both on site and egressing from it. Well, there's going to be a light at the bottom of the driveway, so that might help. And there's only 1 driveway versus 3.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone have an issue with that one?
No.
Okay. Improve access to each structure for fire and other emergency service equipment. The fire chief didn't have a problem with the way it was laid out. He mentioned the hammerhead satisfied the criteria. Okay, so everybody's all set with that.
Yeah.
Reduce visual intrusion by controlling the visibility of parking, storage, or other outdoor services viewed from public ways or premises residentially used or zoned. I'm all set. Everybody?
Yeah.
Okay, achieve greater consistency and compatibility with the surrounding area as to building design, scale, or site design. Like Millie said,
Okay.
we don't even know what the houses are gonna look like,
Yeah,
but as a planning board, we don't have control over that anyways. Okay, achieve greater consistency and compatibility with the surrounding area as to building design, scale, or site design.
we already
Um,
did that.
Yeah, it's homes in a residential area, so it should be consistent. Reduce glare from headlights, reduce light trespass, and light overspill into the night sky. There's a condition of a dark sky lights. So that should satisfy that.
Mm-hmm.
Avoid the removal or disruption of historic, traditional, or significant structures or architectural elements. I mean, the scenic road, they're replacing the wall, so
Yeah,
I think that's the only thing there. Reduce obstruction of scenic views from publicly accessible locations. I don't think there's a public accessible location there. All right. So does anybody have questions, concerns about the criteria 1 through 9?
Do not.
No.
we do not.
Okay, hearing none. All right, I'm trying to think of how to do this. I probably shouldn't take a vote on that yet. We went through all of it. So should I take a motion next, Lori, on the waivers first?
Yes, you should go through those one by one.
Okay,
So remember, you have the extra one,
yeah,
which I wrote out if you want me to say it at the appropriate time.
it's up to you. I have it right here,
Okay,
but if you wanna. So be motion to, do I hear a motion to waive planning board rules and regulations? Section 10-36,
subdivision rules and regs.
oh,
So different
subdivision
document.
rules and regs.
Yep.
So moved.
Well, I gotta finish reading it.
Oh, I thought you did.
Section 10-36-130B 1 through 3. Do I have to read out the whole thing, the requirement?
I would just say requirement to extend water service for fire protection purposes to the site.
As Lori stated.
So moved.
Second,
Okay, roll call vote, Millie Milton? Milton?
Yes.
Did you say yes?
Yes.
Okay. Anthony Zaitin,
Aye.
Bill Pierce,
aye.
and I'm an aye, so that waiver passed. Do I hear a motion to waive subdivision rules and regulations, section 10-36-130A, the requirement that common driveways serving 3 or more homes have a paved surface 22 feet wide. This common driveway shall have a paved surface of 20 feet wide. Do I
So
hear a
moved.
motion? Okay, I heard Bill.
Second.
Second.
Second by Anthony. Roll call vote, Millie Milton,
Yes.
Bill Pierce,
Aye.
Anthony Zaitin,
Aye.
and I'm an aye.
Mhm.
Okay, do I hear a motion to waive subdivision rules and regulations? Section 10-36-130A, requirement that a common driveway serving 3 or more homes have a right-of-way width of at least 33 feet. This common driveway shall have a right-of-way width of 30 feet.
So moved.
Second,
Second by Bill. Okay, roll call vote, Millie Milton,
Yes.
Anthony Zaitin,
Aye.
Bill Pierce,
aye.
and I'm an aye. And do I hear a motion to waive planning board rules and regulations, section 6.2E, the requirement that common driveways servicing 3 or more lots provide a driveway profile that shows an existing right side in a short dashed line and the existing left side in a long dashed line. Only the existing ground on the center line will be shown.
So
So
moved.
moved.
I'll give that to Anthony. Do you have a
Second.
second? A second by Bill. Roll call vote, Millie Milton,
Yes.
Bill Pierce,
Aye.
Anthony Zaitin,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. Okay. So the next is the condition for the special permit. for the common driveway and the site plan approval, and we already went through all the conditions. Do I have to go through those out, or just all one motion, Lori, that you have here?
I just do one motion.
Okay, because we
I
already,
would reference the findings of fact 1 through 10 and conditions 1 through 22.
okay. I was gonna say, do we need a finding of fact that states the DPW is okay with waiving the 1036, 130, 1 through 3? Or it's all part of,
You already waived it.
right, we waived it, but I was just saying for the decision, do we add that to a finding of fact? Because we did get notification that was okay to waive it. I mean, it is a fact that they said it was okay.
That should be, we could add it in, I think.
Does anyone care if we add that? Then it doesn't fall on us if someone says, how come they didn't have to run the water, you know? We actually got approval.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it'd be finding of fact. I already have 1 through 10. That makes it 10. Would that make it 11, Lori?
Yes.
Okay. I must have the old decision printed. And the conditions are still 1 through 22? And when I make the motion, should I say amended to update the condition to clear the vegetation, the ones you listed before?
I don't think you need to amend it. Just reference the total number of the findings of fact and the conditions. So I made the note to add those. So why don't I just, regardless of whether it says it on the plan about the clearing of vegetation to improve site distance, I will add it as a condition too. So it'll be potentially in 2 places. So it'll
Well, if
be
it's
conditions 1 through 23 and findings of fact 1 through 11.
okay, or I was gonna say you could still do 1 through 22 and you can add that condition along with the one where they have to add the trees to the retention. Can it be just added to that part? Or
I'd
does it
probably
make
do it
sense?
as a separate one.
Okay. Do you want to look through it quick and see if it's there? I didn't find that one about clearing. Just so we don't
Honestly,
say 1, 2,
I have
23.
an 11 by 17 version. And unfortunately, I can't read the type because I need glasses. So
You
I'm gonna have to look at the full scale version tomorrow.
Okay, I did not see it there. I tried to look for it, but if it's in with something else. So I'll just say 1 through 23. But what if you find it?
It won't hurt to have it in 2 places.
Okay,
It will just make sure that the site distance is improved if necessary. Doubly sure.
right?
Mm,
Okay, I don't think it's there. Do I have a motion to grant a special permit per section 7-10-020 and site plan approval per section 703-050A1D to allow a proposed common driveway on the subject property located at 3, 7, and 11 Reservoir Street, subject to the findings of fact 1 through 11 and conditions 1 through 23, including the changes that Lori mentioned
oh, move.
previously. And that
Second.
was Millie? Okay, Millie and Bill seconded. Roll call vote, Millie Milton,
Yes.
Anthony Zaitin,
Aye.
Bill Pierce,
Aye.
and I'm an I. Do I have to call on Carter and he abstains, or?
Yeah, Carter, why don't you just abstain?
I
Carter
abstain.
Brandon, okay, and I'm an I. So the application has that passed. Congratulations.
Right.
Well, thank you for your patience. Thank you for your patience with this. The stormwater has been challenging, so we worked
Yeah.
our way through it.
Thank you
Thank you, Laurie. Thank you all.
for
Good luck.
working it. Yeah.
Okay. So next on the agenda is to discuss the modification of the landscape plan for 87 Hudson Street. Lori, did you have that out?
I do. Just bear with me a minute.
While you're bringing it up, I had a quick question for you. Do we have to amend the special permit if they're gonna make changes to the landscape plan?
It would just be a letter essentially to the applicant and the file. So it wouldn't be a formal amendment. It would just be a letter saying that you agree to the changes to the landscaping plan, if that is your decision.
The only reason I'd be concerned with that is, like Bob says, in the future, like 20 years from now,
Mhm.
people have to match the original site plan. So if there's a letter in there just thrown in the files, is anybody going to notice that letter? Or they'll pull out the site plan and say, your property doesn't meet the original site plan. don't
Well,
know.
they're gonna submit an as-built plan. So the as-built plan will reflect whatever decision is made tonight.
Is it because it's minor? Because most changes we would have to amend the special permit.
It's a minor change, correct?
Okay.
All right, so I have pulled up all the various documents, so let me just share my screen.
And did they get a special permit on this 3 years ago?
Yes, it was, I think, probably the first project that I was there for.
Okay. And they've been working towards that plan, but they're modifying it.
Yes, and
Yeah.
we have a couple of folks in the audience.
Okay.
So let me promote them. So we have Tom Reardon and we have Michael Grossworth. I believe Michael is the landscape architect.
All right.
Welcome. So Tom, will you be the one presenting?
Yes, thank you. Good evening. My name is Tom Reardon. I'm with Reardon and Company. I'm representing the owner, Ken Bishop. Michael Grossworth is with WDA. He can answer your technical questions, but I want to give you a little update as to this project. The structure itself is about 95% done. The rough grading and so forth is about 80 to 85% done. And we are about to begin the landscaping. And we went out to bid and we got some comments from the 4 landscape contractors, and they all expressed a concern about the viability of the ornamental plantings in this rear bank behind the duplex. So originally there was, you see that banding with the hatchwork. This is the original plan. It was to be mulched with 600 junipers, 71 black chokeberries on the upper edge with 6 black viburnum interspersed. And their concerns were the amount of labor, water, attention, etc., to establish this and maintain it for a long period of time. They thought that a more appropriate treatment would be to use a jute backing on the slope, which is 30 to 40 degrees, and use a hydroseed wildflower mix. Once that gets established, it's a perennial, doesn't need excessive watering. It blends in well with the vegetation behind this bank. It's better for pollinators like bees and butterflies. And we don't know what the ultimate status of these 2 units would be, whether they're going to be rented or sold. And we thought putting the burden of maintaining this bank on new owners might be an additional detriment to getting it well established. So that's why my client asked me to come before you to see if you would consider allowing us to change the banking to a wildflower mix. I might also point out that it is behind the building. We're
Mhm.
not changing any vegetation that's proposed in the front or the sides. Everything is going to remain as originally approved. So this is just the rear bank. I believe we have a photograph of the existing bank. Nope, this is the existing conditions. So you have this about 20 to 25 foot wide sloped area behind the duplex, and then you have some low growth and then the tree line. And this other image is what a WDA put together to give you a suggestion. So you have a band of lawn directly behind the units, and then they have the wildflower, and then you have the undisturbed area. So that's what we're proposing.
Okay, thank you. So can you just point out on the site plan, just with your pointer, what is being removed? It's just the row behind?
No, the whole area that has the hash
Okay.
marks,
Yep. All right, I just
that
want to make
is
sure that was
that is
it.
the area that would have been junipers. The upper band would have been the chokeberries and the viburnum, and then it would have been mulched.
Okay. Lori, do you have any comments or concerns?
I don't think that their request is unreasonable. The slope treatments that I typically see in residential applications are wildflower meadows. When you're talking about a slope that is this steep, of course, it's really not possible to mow the slope.
Hmm.
And you want to ensure that you have, a stabilized area. It's not going to erode. So in my opinion, the wildflower meadow makes sense.
Is
It's
the
going to be
slope,
really difficult to maintain this area with the junipers and all of the shrubs.
what is the slope? I'm just curious. Is it 2 to 1, 3 to 1?
It's 40 degrees. It's about 2 and 5.
Hmm.
Okay. Does anybody else on the board have any questions, concerns?
So normally when we have specific types of landscape plans, there's like a performance guarantee or something in perpetuity. Is that something that you would put with the wildflowers? I mean,
Whatever the original requirements for the special permit, we would adhere to.
okay.
I don't believe we required a performance guarantee. It would just be or rather a cash performance guarantee. It would just say that if any of the species die, you have to replace them within the following growing season. So in this case, if the wildflower meadow were to die for whatever reason, then they would have to revegetate it.
I mean, I have seen some that don't successfully take root and then you get bare spots and it's just in the back, it's not going to be unsightly, but certainly if it were in the front, it could be a consideration.
I can't imagine it would be maintainable for a long time unless you really put some significant effort into it. And
Mm.
I think if a homeowner was there, ultimately would probably just mulch it anyways. But, I don't have a problem with it.
No, I think it could look beautiful. Actually, I like it better.
Okay. Does anybody else have any concerns, questions?
Sure.
Okay.
It's like, how obviously different is it from the lawn area? Like, it seems like it would very much blend in with that. And would it be a problem of it being possible to mow parts of it, or does it matter?
I think it would be too steep to mow.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So hearing that the board, you are in favor, the majority, should we take a straw poll vote? You want to take a vote? Lori,
can
how do
do
we
the
do
vote.
this since it's just a letter? Do we vote? You're muted.
What I would recommend is referencing the plan. So I would suggest making a motion to approve the modification to the landscape plan as depicted on the plan entitled, let's see, 87 Hudson Street, Northborough, Mass, prepared by WDA Design Group. I gotta blow this way up so I can read it. Oh my goodness, getting old is terrible. Oh, you don't have a revision date on this plan. Oh, there it is. It's originally dated 12/9/21, last revised May 28, 25.
So moved. I'm just kidding. But can we take the, make a motion as Lori just stated, or do I have to respond I can say the whole thing over and again. I guess. Do I hear a motion to approve modification to landscape design of 87 Hudson Street per WDA design, original date 12, what did you say, 12/9/21?
Yep.
And the current revised date is 5/28/25. Hey, I did pretty good.
So moved.
Second,
Okay, I'll give it to Millie and Bill. Roll call vote, Anthony Zaitin,
Aye.
Carter Brannon,
Aye.
Bill Pierce,
aye.
Millie Milton,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. Okay, Lori, so do you have to write up the letter and you add it to the file?
I will, and I will email it to you for final approval.
Okay, sounds
Well, thank
good.
you very much. We appreciate it.
All right, good
Thank
luck.
you.
Good night, Tom.
Thank you.
All right. I'm used to Carrie doing this. I was sitting there waiting. Next on the agenda is are there any A&Rs, lot releases, or bonds?
None.
Okay, on to old business, new business. I had sent out some changes to the minutes from May 20th, 2025. Did everyone have a chance to read them or have any other changes?
No changes
good.
for me.
Was that no?
Nope. I mean, no
Okay.
changes.
Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes as amended
Or-
for May 20th, 2025?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Anthony Zaitin,
Aye.
Carter Brannon.
No.
What do you mean now? You don't approve the minutes?
Or yeah, I actually had some questions about the minutes.
Oh,
Okay,
Sorry. Just
That's
trying to pull
okay.
them up. Well, first I was just, it probably doesn't really matter necessarily. One of the changes was about Mr. Bannon won't be able to vote on the application because before he was elected, as opposed to he missed. I'm just curious, just in the hypothetical event that somebody was elected to the planning board and had attended all of the meetings of it, would they still abstain? And does it, having it be the minutes written one way or another, create a precedent of that? Or
I suppose if you had been there and you had reviewed all of the materials, then you would be eligible to vote.
okay, yeah, that was just a curiosity of, because it was that the wording was being changed in it, and I was curious if there was a reason for that.
I changed it. I only changed it because I felt like it stated like you missed the meetings, which you didn't
Mhm.
really miss the meeting. You hadn't been elected yet. So I didn't want it to reflect poorly on you because it wasn't your fault you weren't there.
Yeah. Well, I guess if I did not attend might be the better wording of it, or
Yep.
But-
But if you can change it to did not attend if you want to. But so you think, Lori, if he attended but wasn't a planning board member, he could still vote?
I believe so.
Oh,
As long as he reviewed everything and attended the meeting.
mhm. So if you want to make an amendment, Carter, and change to did not attend, it's up to you. Or do you, or if you just
Yeah,
want to leave.
I would add, yeah, change it to be, won't be able to vote because, on this application because, you know, maybe did not attend 2 sessions of the public hearing before he was elected.
Do you mind doing that, Lori?
That's fine.
Okay. So I already took a vote to approve them as amended, so I don't have to do that again. I'll go back. I already, I'll call on everybody again because I don't remember who I called on before. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes as amended by Amy Paretsky and Carter Brannon for
So
the
moved.
May 20th, 2025?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Anthony Zaitin,
Aye.
Bill Pierce,
Aye.
Carter Brannon,
Aye.
Millie Milton,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. Okay. All right. Does anybody have any subcommittee updates?
Do not.
Nope.
No, we didn't have a meeting last month because of the election.
I haven't met since the last meeting either. Okay. So next on the agenda is the reorganization. Every year we vote for a chair and vice chair.
I would like to nominate Amy Paresky for chair for planning board.
Second.
Do I do the roll call vote? I guess so. All right, roll call vote. Anthony Zaitin,
Aye.
Millie Milton,
Aye.
Bill Pierce,
Aye.
Carter Brannon,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. And I was gonna nominate Anthony Zaitin for vice chair.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Millie Milton,
Aye.
Bill Pierce,
Aye.
Anthony Zaitin. Are you
Excuse me.
thinking about it?
Aye. You hear me?
Step back from the line.
Carter Brannon
Aye.
and Amy Paretsky's an aye.
All right, congratulations. I think.
Thanks. Thanks. Okay. Next on the agenda is a discussion of the summer schedule. So I'm, oh,
Amy,
sorry. Yeah,
would you mind going over the various committee
I'm
rep
sure I can do that.
positions? So we have
Sure.
Design Review Committee, Community Preservation Committee, Traffic Safety Committee, Master Plan Implementation Committee, Open Space Committee, and Central Mass Regional Planning Commission rep.
And
I wrote that at
CPC.
the bottom of my page. But I wasn't looking down there. So does anybody want to change? And Carter is new to the board, so we'll have to allow him to be on one of them. Carter, did you have one of these committees that you felt you would want to be on?
Maybe the Open Space Committee.
Do you mind, Anthony? You're on that right now.
I can move.
Okay. I just don't know if you move, what would you like to be on? I guess, or we can take a vote on what everybody wants to
Well, I
be
guess-
on.
Well, I don't see, I think it makes sense for Bill to say where he is right now, I would imagine. Millie,
At least
what
for
are you on?
traffic, at least for traffic safety, but do you want to take CMRPC? Since seeing as how you're vice chair?
Yeah, that's fine. That's perfect.
The CMRPC, are those in person or are those remote still?
Those are virtual. I think they do one in person per year.
Okay. So do you mind, Anthony, taking CMRPC?
Oh, you good experience.
Okay, so Carter, you're on open space. And Bill, you're gonna stay on traffic and safety.
Yep.
And Millie, right now you're on CPC.
It works for Thursday nights for me, but
Okay,
I can do anything else on a Thursday night too.
okay. So there's CPC. I'm on design review. That's during the day. I don't know if anyone wants design review.
It's all you.
I should have. And then I have MPIC. We're meeting every other month now. I mean, I don't mind doing it.
I can't do it because I'm already on it for another
Oh, you're on
committee.
it too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right now, we've been talking about the downtown and Blake Street.
Yeah.
We might even get down to like once or twice a year. Do you
I'd be
think,
fine
Lori?
if we went to once every 3 or 4 months, but that's another meeting on them.
Okay. And if anybody wants to start attending too, they can, but I'll keep it for now unless somebody wants it. Okay. Did you get all that, Lori? It's pretty much everybody's the same except for Anthony's off of open space and going to CMRPC.
Yep, it just to make things easy. I think it'd be fine to do it all in one motion since everybody's agreed.
Okay.
So
So do I have a motion to appoint Carter to open space, Amy to design review, Bill to traffic safety, Millie to CPC, Anthony to CMRPC, and Amy to MPIC.
So moved.
Second.
Bye, everybody.
All right, I'll give, Millie got the first, and I think Anthony got the second. Roll call vote, Millie Milton,
Yes.
Anthony Zaitin,
Aye.
Carter Brannon,
Aye.
Bill Pierce,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. Okay, back to the discussion of the summer schedule. The next planning board meeting is June 17th. I actually wanted to bring up something before we talked about that. Because right now we don't have anything on the agenda, right, Lori?
correct.
Yesterday, on June 2nd, there was an announcement by the state that there are certain properties that are going to be auctioned off in September. And one of them's in Northborough.
Hmm?
Yeah, it's by the DCAM down on Lyman Street. And when I went online and I looked at it, they're gonna want input from the planning board before June 27th. So I thought maybe we are gonna have to meet one more time this month. I don't know if they'll take comments into consideration, but it did say that the town is allowed to make comments. And I know it's all new and I can send out all the information. I went to the website later today and read some of the information. So
Yeah.
they're selling off empty properties for residential use. So they're gonna have an auction to developers to develop them. And it's a 4, I think they said the minimum would be a 4 per acre. But towns, I think, can work with developers on this and it's all new. So I just thought maybe we should have one more meeting in June to talk about it. And actually wondered if we should have a joint meeting and include like the zoning board or the board of selectmen or even the school committee, because we've had a lot of discussions about housing. And, maybe Greg, the superintendent would weigh in or the chair of the school committee. Because I think this sounds like this property is gonna be open to like working with the developer, whether we want 4 per acre, 10 per acre. But I feel like with housing, we need a little bit of discussion, like maybe a group brainstorming with all the different committees. But that was just what I was thinking.
Amy, is all the property in Northborough or is it straddle the boundary lines?
Well,
Other
it's
towns?
actually, I can pull it up. There's 5.4 acres in Northborough, but it does straddle to Westborough, and they have some too,
Yeah, I thought so. Okay.
about 4 or 5, and they're gonna auction that off too.
Yep.
So
And
both of them.
I
Oh,
did
Lord.
just email you. I did receive notification on Thursday from the town administrator who was seeking my feedback. I did ask her if she was seeking planning board feedback as well, but I hadn't heard back from her yet.
I didn't think it would hurt to have like a joint meeting with a couple of groups. Just to talk about housing in general and what, this property wasn't on the radar for housing, but we talk about downtown, we talk about by the baseball. I just, I don't know. Just to get a feel of what people are thinking. Because, I don't
Amy, do
know.
you have a map of this?
I have a map if you want me to bring up the map.
Okay,
Amy.
I just wanted to show that these two are probably connected, so it might be
Yeah.
the same developer.
The thing I find interesting, if they're connected like that, and you can end up with like an Avalon situation,
Yeah.
what do you do with the students from that, or even like fire and police?
So right next to this property in Westboro is a large 55 and over development. So you can see that it was under construction during the time that this aerial photo was taken. And now it's largely built. I did end up driving up there. So as you can see, this is right on the Northborough line.
Mm-hmm.
This property is zoned residential C. So that is mostly a single family development district. There are only a few other uses. I believe assisted living is one thing that would be allowed, but mostly just single family.
And where's
Amy-
the parcel that is the
Yeah,
Westboro
Westboro.
side?
So the Westboro parcel that's available is not shown on this map.
Okay, so it's not that adjacent part that
Not
is the
touching.
55 and over.
It is, the 55 and over is this area that's under construction on this map. So it's directly abuts the 55 and over development
Right, but the Westboro side is already
Being
built.
developed.
built,
Yeah, okay.
so it's not for sale now, is it?
It had previously been sold.
Okay.
So it had been decommissioned a few years ago and developed.
Right.
So
Right,
there's
but
still
the-
a few units at the far edge over by the Northborough town line that are still under construction. But
Right.
it's largely built out at this point.
Right, but the listing had a parcel in Westboro that they were gonna auction off. That is not it, correct?
I do not have a map showing that parcel.
And
Okay,
it says it's near it, but I don't know if it's abutting it. But it does say that Westboro is near the Northborough.
right, so I was just curious as to where that might be.
Mm.
Okay.
So, and maybe we don't have to meet with everybody, but Lori, did you know, does it stay residential C or can they do whatever housing they want on it?
Well, in my comment letter, I did mention to her that the town has adopted the inclusionary zoning bylaw.
Mhm.
So if the sale of this property results in a development of 10 or more acres, then 15% of those units will have to be affordable. And then, of course, the other option is to do a Chapter 40B development, in which case, if it's ownership, 20% of the units will have to be affordable. If it's rental, 25% of the units will have to be affordable. If it is rental and you have 25%, then all of the units in the development would count as affordable.
And I thought it said something, it has to be multifamily, or is it just for possible?
Only if it's a 40B. Multifamily is not allowed in the residential C district.
Right, but for some reason I thought it said actually on their auction. If you want to maybe go
I
back
can-
to that piece. I thought it specified multifamily. I
Want me
could,
to bring it up?
Yes, please.
Okay. I do have another page that talked about the rules. It's a PDF.
Okay, Northborough occupied under oh, what?
No, you just had
I
to go
think it
back up.
says
One.
it's on the road with a large multifamily
Oh,
development.
with, is
So that's the
on
one
a
that
main
I was
road with a
talking
large
about.
multi, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
the 55 and over development in Westboro.
okay, sorry.
But I do think there are rules and regulations. There was a PDF sheet and I just started reading it, so I don't know. But I don't know. I know they can override zoning. Like, so they said if your decant parcel was on industrial, then you have to allow housing. That the zoning didn't matter. So I'm wondering if the state is also gonna say, if you're an RC, you don't have to do single family, you can do an apartment building. I don't know. I haven't read it closely because I was prepping for tonight's meeting. But I could send it out, the rules.
Yeah,
I
that'd be
have,
interesting.
Would it
have,
would it a possibility if we're meeting with people be that we end up trying to rezone the area, depending on what the ideas of what's going to happen with the property is?
well, I don't think we have to rezone because I think the state is gonna say what we have to do, whether or not we rezone it.
Plus
That's the
also
way-
you can't rezone it without going to town meeting
Right,
unless
Right.
they ask for a use variance. So that would be through the comprehensive permit process. So that would be the zoning board of appeals that could grant that relief through chapter 40B.
Mhm.
for housing purposes, dispositions.
I
Can you
mean, I'm just
send,
thinking of
sorry,
I think the assumption was kind of the state was owning that land and it was just probably not much was going to happen with it. It's kind of surrounded by protected or not open space, and if that use is going to be changing, would it make sense to look at that whole area and decide if something different should happen there? I mean, if it gets auctioned in September, would it be by the spring that you're changing zoning to work with anyone, or do we think things are going to be happening quickly?
It depends. If they're interested in doing a comprehensive permit, a chapter 40B, then it doesn't matter what the area is zoned for. They essentially, under a comprehensive permit, they throw the zoning in the trash and they ask for relief from the current zoning scheme to do what they want to do. And
Yep.
then the zoning board of appeals can choose to approve that or deny it. Or condition it.
condition.
So what type of comments are they looking for? Do you know?
Well, I just got a general email from the town administrator asking me if I had any comments. What did I think about the development of this parcel for housing purposes? So
Mhm.
like I said, I went up to the site. I drove around the 55 and over development next door. I looked at the roadway and then I supplied her with an email with my comments. I asked her if she needed something formal or whether she was just looking for something informal, and she hasn't gotten back to me as of yet. So that was on Friday.
And what did you tell her? Like, I know you said you had to go safe it. Look, did you tell her or do you want to forward us your email so we can see the comments?
Sure. In a nutshell, I told her that it did look to me like a developable parcel. I told her it was zoned residential C. I gave her a sampling of the uses that are allowed in that district. I did tell her that about our inclusionary zoning bylaw and what that would mean as far as affordable units. I told her that certainly it could qualify for Chapter 40B development. I said a couple of the concerns that I have are that there aren't public utilities in the area, so no public water, no public sewer. So I thought that that would limit the number of units overall that could be built on that parcel. It is flat, it is a farm field. I'm sorry, it's not flat. It slopes to the rear of the parcel. But it isn't a significant slope, so in my opinion, it is developable.
Hmm.
Of course, you know, if they're doing septic systems, they'd have to do perk tests.
Hmm.
Is
Yeah,
Avalon on a septic? You've got to be, right?
No, they ran sewer down Davis Street to, they have their own sewer
Oh,
pump
okay.
station down there.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
this is a relatively small area, so Avalon, gosh, that's a giant parcel of land. I want to say it's like 140 acres.
Yeah,
And this is only 5 acres, so there isn't going to be a huge amount of development that can be accommodated on this parcel.
yeah, I was gonna say between, 5 acres of land and having to do septic, you're not gonna get a lot of housing here.
Right.
Right.
would it ever be possible that, I'm assuming the 55, the Westboro 55 is on public water for Westboro? Do towns ever share lines?
That would have to be negotiated. That's definitely above my pay grade.
Ah!
So that would have to be, you know, a discussion between the selectmen and
Yeah.
the DPW and of both communities to determine whether that's what they're willing to do. I'm sure the sewer commissions would get involved.
Yeah, I'm curious.
It would be more complicated, but never say never.
Yeah, I was just curious if that was something that was ever done.
If you look at the map, it's interesting. Right behind that parcel is 134 acres owned by the state. That's land. Well, it's not landlocked actually. Wonder why they picked that one out.
Maybe they're starting small and then they're gonna expand.
Yeah. Can you share that at all, Anthony? I was just curious as to where.
You want me to
Yeah,
stop
is that in
sharing?
the Northborough side?
It's
I think
right
so.
behind it. Like if you bring up the GIS.
Hold on a second.
I just didn't know if some point we do have to have a housing discussion between all the different the groups.
So here's the parcel here.
Wait, where is it?
This is the 5
Ah,
acres.
okay.
And then if you go past it or behind that, this whole thing
Oh.
state owned.
What
It looks
about on
like
the
a
other side behind
section
it
of it is
too?
wetland still. Quite a bit.
Behind it there, I think that's state owned too.
Is that over here?
No, go the other way to the right. There.
Yeah, that's what I
Yep.
was wondering if that was the Westboro portion.
That's DCAM.
Yeah.
And that's like 162 acres.
Yeah. Interesting.
Mm-mm-mm.
A little concerning.
Mm.
So I guess we have to see, of course, in all the thing, it says like regulations to follow. They throw it out. You're gonna have land auctioned off and there are certain criteria, but they'll follow up with more updates.
Hmm.
But when I saw it said they were looking for input from the planning board chair and the zoning board chair. That's why I thought we'd have a meeting, but
Well, I think it would be good because they may come up with other questions that should be presented and could be presented to the state to say, here's what we're concerned about or would like to see answered.
mhm. So,
So my input would be we should probably meet or have a placeholder to meet just to see if we develop any questions or thoughts between now and then.
right, because it's all so new.
Yeah,
Do we invite anyone else? Do we invite the ZBA or do we not? Do we just talk as a planning board and,
I think input from especially any of the services, whether it's fire, police, I think the schools are the primary ones I'd want to hear from. But definitely, and I'd have no issue with the other boards attending for feedback and
Hmm.
input.
I mean, I think if you put it out there and they want to send a rep, or that they can attend in whole, that.
yeah.
If a lot more people would be at the meeting, would an in-person meeting make more sense?
I don't know if it's any more productive.
I actually think, I understand your point, Carter. I think more people might likely attend if it weren't in person. But I do think that the more
Yeah.
people we can get, the better. Yeah. So I bet I understand your point.
I just, because I don't talk to the school people, but I know they're looking into Peasley. So I didn't know how big of a parcel could actually fit here, how big of a building, like say it went up 45 feet, which is probably the height in RC. Is it 40 or 45?
35.
35. So if they did a building, like what would be the max amount of units you could get? Or can we say we only want 4 units per acre, which would be 20 units? I don't know. But like you said, it's all going to rely on the sewer septic.
Mm-hmm.
And also, it's the ZBA that would make that determination under a comprehensive permit.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, it would be the traditional zoning. So they do have frontage, so they could A&R it. Minimum lot size is 20,000 square feet. Duplexes are allowed in the RC district, so that would be 30,000 square feet.
I just didn't know about those rules and regulations if it allowed the developer. I think they don't have to do single family or duplexes. I think it's gonna open it up so the developers can do more.
That's one of the questions I would have is like, do they have to follow the rules or not with this?
Mm,
Well, they're
And-
still gonna have to follow septic no matter what.
Fair
Right.
enough.
Yeah,
So, that's a health issue.
yeah.
So
I was
that's
just
still gonna
wondering.
really limit them.
Yeah. Interesting.
Just wondering if we want to meet June 17th, or we think the comments are fine and then we'll meet later and talk about it. I don't know. I
Well,
mean,
wouldn't
the comments are only open until June 27th, so.
Oh, so I think we have to meet.
Yeah. Yeah. I would plan on that then.
And maybe, Lori, we can try to get more information on what is going to be allowed
Is
by the rules.
public input, would that be
Probably not yet, because they're
beneficial,
gonna
or
auction it
Really?
off in
Uh-huh.
September. So I would probably just get the boards together first, but I don't know. It's up to you guys.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, even the public comment, I think, is going to be very limited because again, the state is going to do what the state is going to do, right? Even our comments are going to be,
Yeah.
could potentially be, yeah, okay, you guys said this, fine, we're still doing it, right? I mean,
Mhm.
I noticed that section 122 of the surplus land, which is really scary as well,
Mm-hmm.
right? That if the state auctions off surplus land, then it bypasses all local zoning,
Hmm.
right? But again, I think if I was a developer looking at that land, the first thing I would be looking at is the fact that you don't have public sewer, right? So you've got to factor in the leaching field and the tanks and everything else as a part of that, and how much of that land can you really build on?
I
Or
think
if they can tie into Westboro, that would be
right.
the thing.
I think that's what the developer will do, try to get Westboro and Northborough tied all together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's still a lot of work and a lot of cost.
Yeah.
Right, that the town isn't going to be willing to pay for, so the developer would have to. So again, it all goes back to the, the return on investment.
What is the, yeah. What's that balance sheet gonna look like?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, looking through a couple of those other properties that are on there, I think there are a lot of other properties that are much more appealing for a developer than this one. But I could be wrong.
Who knows?
Like, I don't know, is there any negotiation with the state over this that, I mean, again, it's the state can decide yes or no, but if we're being given an option to tell the state something, I figure like you might as well take advantage of that as much as possible.
I would think it's a lot like, how much control do we have over the owner of a house and selling their house, right? We don't have much at all, right? The state owns the property, so
Right.
it's up to them on what they want to do with their property, just like any other homeowner or landowner.
Well, and beyond that, they likely don't have to follow the zoning rules, is what it
Which
sounds
the
like.
homeowner or landowner would have to do.
Right, exactly.
So, I don't know. I was just thinking we learn more about it and have one more meeting.
Yeah, I think you're right, Amy. I think we do have to get some more information and still keep that meeting on the 17th.
I agree.
Well, guys, I have to get a Boy Scout. Are we pretty much wrapped up?
Oh, yeah.
Well, let me see, what
Go-
else
go
is on
get
the
it. Go
agenda?
get it.
Do you want to go through the rest of the summer, or you want to wait till the 17th?
Yeah,
to do
can we
that?
do it? Can we do it fast? What
Yep.
time do you have to leave, Anthony?
I got 3 minutes.
Great. Okay.
The only day I can't make is July 1st.
Okay,
I'm on vacation August 5th.
okay. Anybody else?
I'm out probably the 15th. Yep, I'm out the 15th of July.
And I'm out the second one of August, so it's gonna be, there's all four of them, so someone's gonna have to miss it,
Yep. So we'll just have to choose.
right? I mean, I don't mind if we don't do August 5th, because Lori's out and maybe I can do remotely, or if not, you guys can survive without me.
I'll be away August 5th, but
Okay,
theoretically could be there
I think
remotely.
if we're doing the one on June 17th, then we just keep them the middle of the month. Right? So July 15th and then August 19th.
do you mind, Millie? You might have to miss one, but
Oh, I'll definitely have to miss that. I will not be in this time zone.
all right, but it's okay if you miss. So we'll do June 15th, July.
June
15th.
17th, July 15th.
Okay. The middle of June, middle of July, middle of August. Is there anything on the agenda for any of those yet? Any applications?
Nope.
No. So we might not meet anyways.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll do that for the summer meetings. We don't have to go into well, is there anything big on the ZBA meeting, Lori, that we need to know about?
It's not big. It is a single family property. They are seeking a whole bunch of variances so that they can convert the single family into a two-family. It was originally approved by the ZBA in 2018, but not acted upon. So they're asking for the same relief again.
What's the address on that? Just curious.
19 East Main.
Okay. Yeah, I know where it is.
Okay, and then the MPIC meets on July 17th. So that's all we have on the agenda. Do you guys mind if I talk to Lori about outside of the meeting about what we're gonna do on the June 17th meeting? Like if I guess if the ZBA can come, that would be good, and we'll try to pull that together.
Nope, don't mind at all.
I think scheduling is always bypassed by open meeting rules.
Yep. Okay, I just didn't know if you guys were okay with inviting the ZBA and maybe the Board of Selectmen, and just to give them a heads up of what's happening, even though it's a small parcel.
Yep.
Okay, all right. Anybody else have anything else they want to mention? Oh, Lori does.
I just wanted to give you all the heads up that we are going to have the second community outreach workshop for the downtown streetscape project on June 30th. It's a Monday night at 6:30 at the public library. So if you could mark your calendars for that, that'd be great.
Sorry, what was that? I'm sorry, I missed that.
It's Monday, June 30th at 6:30 at the public library.
Okay, thank you.
And it's to discuss the Blake Street, right?
Yep, the Blake Street streetscape project.
Okay.
All right.
Six.
All right, everyone. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Anthony Zaitin,
Aye.
Carter Brannon,
Aye.
Bill Pierce,
Aye.
Millie Milton,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. Good night, everybody.
Good night,
Good
everyone.
Good night. Thank you.
No.
Thanks.